Well, both Donald Trump and Paul Ryan are looking for ways to turn their recent feud into a partnership. Maybe the answer is their shared passion for genuine tax reform. And there is a precedent. Here now is Grover Norquist, president of Americans for Tax Reform. Grover, great to see you. So Ronald Reagan, he was an anti-establishment Republican. He came in with a tax-cutting plan, kind of a vague idea. He wanted to radically cut taxes, but he piggybacked on a congressman named Jack Kemp, who had this Kemp-Roth plan that he'd been working on for years. Ronald Reagan worked with the congressman. They got together, and that's how the tax reforms of the Reagan administration started. Could it be the same with Trump and Ryan working together on this?
I think it can be, and it likely will be. Remember, in 1978, 2 years before Reagan was president, the Republican campaign for their House and Senate candidates was Republican tax cut 33%. It was the Kemp-Roth bill. Before the Reagan tax cuts were the Reagan tax cuts, they were the Republican congressional agenda items. And what you have in both Trump's proposal, which is a fine tax proposal, these are all ideas that have appeared in Republican congressional tax reform plans. There's an awful lot of overlap between where Trump is and where Ryan and Brady and the other Republicans, Hatch on the Senate side, where they are on tax reform. More, I think, than with Reagan.
And also, Trump has these ideas, but he doesn't have an idea of how to get them through. He doesn't have the practical experience of dealing in Washington. They do. They know how to deal with all the bells and whistles and the CBO and everything else. But I got to already, the plan, as vague as it is and as changeable as the Trump plan is, it's been attacked by Hillary on the old class warfare lines. Let me read from an ad that just came out today on his tax plan. Donald Trump's tax plan would be an enormous boon for the top 1% of earners, made at the expense of working families, seniors, and the health of their economy. Now, going back to Reagan, the interesting thing, they said the same thing about Reagan. Here's what actually happened. We just saw a graphic. If we can put that back up again. This is what actually happened during the period of the tax cuts, the Reagan tax cuts. The poorest 20%, their income went up 11.8%. The richest 20%, their income went up almost exactly the same, 12.2%. So if you're worried about income distribution, you have across-the-board tax cuts.
Well, and the great thing about economic growth and job creation is the biggest beneficiaries are the people who go from no job, zero income, to a job and income. Somebody already has a job who does 10% better, he's 10% better, but the other person is infinitely better off going from zero to a real wage. And so I think there are real opportunities for Trump and the Republicans in the House and Senate to make the case that Hillary Clinton, who in this campaign has come out for taxing poor people's soda pop and for taxing their wages. Remember, she said she would sign a wage tax, like an increase in Social Security, because she was goaded into it by Sanders. She's the one talking about taxing, and she endorsed the 8 middle-class tax increases in Obamacare. She's been one idea after another on how to hit the middle class and lower-income Americans with tax hikes.
Grover, it's very interesting. It all depends on whether the Donald can make the deal happen tomorrow. We'll see. Grover Norquist, Americans for Tax Reform, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it.